Hey you guys, what's up? So I didn't want to, of course, add this part in my last review because I just knew they wouldn't show the entire thing. Sometimes I really hate when they do that. But let's really get into it. So it's Quick's street name reveal, or his street renaming. He grew up on this street and the mayor is renaming it on his birthday. Everyone shows up, friends, family, etc. Joy, Arena, and their friend group together to hug and cheer because, it's a wonderful celebration for Quick. And Joy says it's ironic they're in shady side. So I'm assuming because of Sherelle has an issue with the word shady. So Sherelle and Black in their confessional says her and Joy talk, but Arena needs to shut the fuck up. And I'm kind of, curious as to why she has that much energy toward Arena. But that is why the confrontation started, because she just already was on edge. So she came with the energy. Also, I didn't expect Black voice to sound the way that it does because he's big in stature. So I don't know. I thought it would be more deep, but Black says they have to talk about what's been said, but he's not trying to get into it while Quick is being honored. And I think, if that was the case, then you shouldn't have had the conversation or encouraged your wife to have the conversation. So Quick says he got shot and stabbed. So he's just blessed to be where he is today. Brandon Scott presented Quick on November the 4th, 2022, DJ Quick Day. That's what he has. So every November the 4th, it's DJ Quick Day. So he says he wishes his mom and dad was there and says to everyone, never give up. So that was pretty much his speech. He obviously had more to say, but I'm just really paraphrasing. So Sherelle says she's happy for Quick, but sees Arena dancing around with the Bob and have to talk to her because she already talked to Joy and she didn't say shady. So it's the wrong time, wrong place, but she just couldn't help herself. And so she walks over, and I don't understand how you see someone, in a blissful mood dancing and you're annoyed. So one thing I did notice, and you guys comment down below and you let me know if you noticed it as well, but Sherelle was whispering to her husband saying, I got it. So I don't know what he was saying to her, but she was just, like, I got it. As if they were talking about who said what and how it would be done. And yeah, it was just definitely giving premeditated beef. So she then says, I know we're having a moment. I just want to clear the air. So she walks over to them and this is how she starts. Joy in the confessional says, when a Black woman starts putting their hands together saying, yeah, I just want to clear the air and address some things, I'm like, oh, Lord, oh, not here, Jesus, not here. And I just thought that was kind of funny. So I really felt that. So Sherelle says to the group, I'm not going to do he say, she say, or play with words with people. I did have a conversation with Joy about the conversation you and I had. Arena says to her, oh, you talking to me and not the group. Because Sherelle did walk up to the group and just start talking. Nobody really knew who she was talking to. So Sherelle says, yeah. Arena in the confessional says she just walks up and start talking. She didn't say hey to anybody. Sherelle said she had a conversation with Joy about Black being shady, and Joy said she never said that. And that we want to be clear about the way things are being passed around, basically. Because she wouldn't deliver a message and play with words when it comes to people's marriages and family. And shady is an effed up word. And I don't know why she thinks shady is an effed up word. I think every other word Joy used is more wrong than shady. And I think Arena was trying to do her, a favor and just paraphrasing it, but she's doing herself a disservice trying to argue with Arena about using the actual words that was said. So Arena, and I love her so much, says shady is actually the words that describes your husband. And I literally bawled in tears because, girl, I don't think she was trying to shade her husband, but the way that it came out is why would you word it that way? So Sherelle says, wait. you don't know him like that, Arena. And I just thought that was so funny because Sherelle is like an old school auntie. Like when she's mad, like she's really like, she's just really amped up. So Arena tries to explain and says, yeah, I don't, but continues to get cut off by the emotional Sherelle because Sherelle's just not having it. No way you could be talking about her husband in that way. So Sherelle said, but how you going to say that? Arena explains again, I don't, Arena was trying to explain, like, I don't know your husband and I like your husband, but Sherelle just kept cutting her off. So we couldn't really get any real dialogue amongst them. And Arena says, can you let me finish? Sherelle screams, hell no. Like, because Sherelle is just mad. Like, no way you calling her husband shady. And it's like, girl, like, she is just so exhausting. She's trying to tell you, and she just wouldn't let her. So Quick steps in because Sherelle is just acting delusional, in my opinion, and pointing fingers. Then Ashley steps in front of Quick because she don't need her man getting in women's business, and I totally understand that. So Sherelle is a wild card at this point. She might say something to Quick, Ashley might pop off. Who knows? So Ashley in her confessional is like, why are they here doing this at Quick's event? She's confused about everything that's going on, but she did say she want to slap the hell out of both of them. And I don't know why. Violence is not the answer. So Arena then says, I didn't describe your husband, Joy did, as unethical and untrustworthy. That's shady. And I think I literally agree. I don't know what the big deal is. So Sherelle says, I don't care about that. The word she said, I don't care about that. Use the word that she said. And I think that is like, literally, girl, grow up. So Arena says, I don't have to use the word that she said. Are you kidding me? And like, girl, I agree. So Ashley is mocking them in her confessional. She said, she says, if these girls get to swinging, it'll be three of them fighting because they at her husband's event, like showing they behind. So Arena has to tell Sherelle, if you look at the dictionary, that is what those words mean. She said Joy described him as unethical, untrustworthy. It's the same damn thing. She didn't describe you. I'm just very confused as to what her issue is. Like, she didn't describe you and him in like, oh, like they effed up people, don't do. She was just like, oh, I don't like working with Black because he just seemed to be unethical or whatever. And Arena translated that as shady. I really don't know why we're having this back and forth, but it is interesting nonetheless to watch. So, So Arena starts looking up the word unethical. She was like, do you know what the word shady means? Like, do you need me to look it up? So she takes out her phone and she starts to search what shady means. So Sherelle is like, she know what it means. She know what it means. You don't have to look it up. But, Arena is looking it up anyways. And she's screaming what the definition is. And so Arena says, well, let me read it to you. And she just starts reading out the definition. Sherelle saying, I don't need you to read me the definition, but Arena is going to do it anyway. So Joy in her confessional said, Arena was ready to tell her definition of shady, though, and she found that to be so funny. But she did say she's realizing everyone is looking at her like it was her, but she knew that it wasn't the time or the place to have this conversation. But if she would have jumped in and said anything, then it probably would have been three women fighting and being loud and rowdy for no reason. So Joy, she has a point. She knows herself. So Sherelle is mad and yelling. Arena is mad. Like, why are you mad at the word shady? That's so unnecessary. And I literally totally agree. I think Sherelle needed a moment. So after all of that, Arena is just like, now it's blown up. They're arguing full blown now. They're screaming at each other. And Arena is like, that's why nobody likes you. Your friends doesn't even like you. And Sherelle is like, oh, do you think I care if my friends like me? And now, Sherelle's husband holding her back. Jamie's holding Arena back. And, everybody somehow, some way go their own way. So now we're in the next episode. So in the next episode, Ashley is pretty much telling Arena, how she's disappointed in the way that she's reacting to this woman. So they go over to have a side-by-side conversation. And of course, you guys, I'm really paraphrasing. So they're having their conversation, and Arena is explaining herself, talking to Ashley, and here comes Sherelle walking down looking angry, annoyed, and mad. But it turns out she just wanted to have a conversation, thank God. So she's like, oh, I'm not coming down here to fight, but you did do too much. And so Arena was accountable, and she was like, well, yeah, maybe, but I wasn't trying to say that your husband was shady. That's just how it came out. I don't even know your husband. I actually told her that I liked your husband. And so they kind of hash it out in a sense. And thank goodness, because I just genuinely feel like that was so unnecessary. So the next scene, they are at Arena's house, Arena and Big Jamie's house, because it's her mother's birthday. So they're going to be throwing her a cowgirl themed birthday party. Her mother told her once upon a time that she really loved horses. So she got the great idea to throw her a cowgirl party or a cowboy party or whatever the case may be. She even got a beautiful little horse outside. So she's like, oh, we're all going to ride horses. And Jamie's just like, I'll do it. I'm a team player. And I just really love Arena and Jamie. If you guys couldn't tell, they have a really great relationship. They're honest with each other. But also it just seems like Jamie is really patient and accepting of her, vice versa. So Arena tells her mom that the reason why her and Big Jamie aren't doing the do as often is because she lives in a house. Her mom goes over to Big Jamie to ask him. He's like, oh, Arena is lying. That is not the truth. She just don't be wanting to do it. And regardless of anything, I just love their relationship dynamic, how they can laugh, toy, play around, but again, love one another. So somehow, some way, that conversation gets over into Joy and when she's getting married, when she's having a baby. And Joy don't really want to talk about it right now. And I totally understand her. Like, she's like, it's just too stressful for me. So Arena, Joy, and Ashley go over to sit down and talk about their, past events and blow-ups or whatnot. And Arena straight up asks the both of them, are we good? And Ashley says, you always get in trouble asking that question. But at the end of the day, Quick understood why it happened. And he's not upset. But Ashley does feel like Arena needs to calm down and pick her battles wisely. She didn't necessarily say it like that, but she basically just said she be on 10, Sherelle was on 10, and like they were just going back and forth. Joy interjects and let her know, like, well, she didn't, say anything wrong. And I feel Joy. Like, one, I really, really like Joy. But also, I understand what she's saying. She didn't actually say anything wrong. So, the entire argument was genuinely unnecessary. And sometimes Sherelle just seems like that person that intentionally misinterpret what you said because it doesn't fit her narrative, or she's embarrassed or doesn't want to be accountable. All in all, basically, Ashley told Arena, you didn't have to relay any messages or go back and forth because it was unnecessary. They both didn't like each other, and it was just unnecessary because you didn't personally have an issue with the man, and Arena ultimately understood that. So Joy basically in her confessional just lets everyone know, like, she doesn't really need to be in a room with any of them, but she will have the conversation. So Ashley and Winter sit down for a conversation, which I thought was a pretty simple conversation, or at least I felt like Ashley was trying to make it a simple conversation. So she basically sits down and she says, look, Winter, I don't like you, you don't like me. And, when we were at Sherelle's event, I was having a conversation with Sherelle and you just wanted to interject. And Winter in her voice cuts in to say, yeah, because you were talking about me, I was 2 feet away. And Ashley was like, well, Sherelle was asking me what was the problem. I was explaining to her what the problem. You think you're more important than you really are, And so Winter is like, well, I think that you think you are the star or, whatever. So basically, everything that Ashley said, Winter turned around and rephrased to use against Ashley. That's just my opinion. So they basically both agree that they have a mutual friend, which is Sherelle, and they don't want to keep butting heads. So Winter is like, how do we make this comfortable? So Ashley says, we were never going to be skipping off into the sunset, but, I did want this to be where we can just be cordial and not be in separate rooms all the time, basically, to sum everything up. So they end up, basically coming to a mutual agreement, and they're going to host an event with all of the ladies so they can just put everything on the table. Ashley felt like they didn't really get anywhere because Winter was so defensive, and I kind of agree. So Joy meets Arena at her, I guess, hairstylist salon, and they are looking at wigs because Arena is starting her wig line, and Joy is basically just giving her updates on her life and just letting her know, like, she's working on her husband's beard oil that's about to be finalized, and also that she would like Arena to help her plan her wedding. Arena suggested they should do something like her and Jamie, and Joy said she wanted to, and that Arena should tell Jamie to talk to her husband. But Arena says, well, did you talk to him about it? And Joy basically just lets her know, I talked to him about it, but I kind of just let him know that I didn't really care to do it, which she is under the impression that that's the same thing as her telling her husband, like, hey, I don't want to have a big wedding. I just want to go, do it justice of the peace or whatever. And so that's pretty much this scene summed up. So Quick, being a stand-up man, is having a conversation with the guys and basically just lets them know, like, hey, that event wasn't the time or place for any of that. And so he is basically just putting everything out on the table. And so Black is like, oh, all of this is basically coming from stuff that Joy is walking around saying. And so Jamie is asking the questions that we want to know: what was said, what happened with the band, what's going on. So now everyone is all ears, and Black starts to talk. So he basically starts explaining the story, the same story that Joy explained, basically. So I'll say that there are a lot of similarities. So what they're saying is the issue is the issue. He said that it's because the bandmates left, but he was the manager and, doing music. So he wanted the other bandmates to come back basically because he didn't want to do any manager work. And the old bandmates wanted to come back because they would have been able to help him, which at the end of the day, I think is still flawed because they only came back after Mumbo Sauce got the hype and the notoriety. So I understand Joy completely. And while he's explaining this, because he is explaining this kind of in a sketch way, like he know he is wrong and he's shady and nobody didn't describe him wrong, Jamie is giving him a look, and I totally agree. So Joy husband, I cannot think of his name at this moment, basically let Black know, it's a little bit deeper than that, but I won't put anyone's business out here. So Black is trying to flip it, like, because he's a liar, I can literally tell, and that's just my opinion, and that's allegedly, so I have to throw that out there. But Black gives me the vibes, okay? But anyways, so Black is like, well, if you feel like it's more to the story, then maybe that's because you being fed wrong information. So Joy's husband's like, why would I be fed wrong information? And I totally agree. When it comes to a situation like this, why would he be fed wrong information? Like, Joy isn't the one that gave the group an ultimatum. If anybody would miss details or leave details out of a story, or kind of like, tell a story to make them look better in it, it'll be the person that made the shady deal in the first place, right? Which would be Black, but that's just my opinion. So Black thinks we're all Sherelle and he can just tell us stuff because his response to what Joy's husband said was, I don't know, maybe she don't want to look stupid. And okay. Mind you guys, he's doing what a typical liar would do and forgetting to tell us important information, like the fact that he started dating Sherelle while he was with Joy's friend. That's another reason Joy doesn't like him. And I think this is the issue. Like, why would we look at you as a credible man when you won't tell the full story? And so this is just one of those conversations with a person where I would literally just have to, like, smile and wave, boys. Just smile and wave. So Joy's husband, who seems to be a pretty stand-up man, basically says he don't really have an issue with this man, Black. Him and Joy's disagreement is between them. He doesn't have a personal issue with this man. And I feel like that's where Sherelle should be in life because, again, Joy's husband didn't know her when all of this was going on. So he doesn't have much of an opinion, only what Joy has told him. And so I think when he even interjected, it was only because Black was missing a very important part that I'm sure Joy has told him. And I think Black is a manipulator, but he thinks we're Sherelle. And so I think he's going to try to be like, oh, well, that isn't something that happened. Of course, he's going to lie because now he's in a relationship with this woman. But at the end of the day, you know how that is. Like, men could lie. If you're friends with somebody and your boyfriend is cheating on her, of course she's going to tell you everything as it's happening, and you're going to be there for her, feel what she's going through. You're going to know the other side of the story. Joy doesn't know what him and Sherelle had going on. She doesn't know if Sherelle didn't know about the other woman, but at the end of the day, Joy knows that her friend in Black was in a relationship, whether he wants to admit it or not. So Black wants to end this conversation off with letting everybody know that he doesn't have a problem with Joy, and I don't think Joy has a problem with you. I think Sherelle has a problem with Joy that she blocked the both of you. That's where this all stems from. Sherelle wanted to know why Joy blocked the both of you. Joy simply told her it's because she doesn't rock with you. It's not, that's that. Like, I don't like you, you don't like me, we don't have to communicate. I don't have a problem with you, but I don't like you because of your past actions. Duh. Okay, you guys, and you already know I'll finish the ending scene next week when they show the whole thing, but this scene is basically everybody, all of the ladies coming together so they can go ahead and say that put everything out on the table. And I chose this picture to end the scene in because why does Sherelle always look so mad? Y'all let me know down in the comments.
Yeah. Work, 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 work.